Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the IMAI Blockchain Summit 2021. It's time to begin our startup showcase for the day. Without any further ado, I would like to welcome our first startup, TradeIX Leon Spot Region Head, Asia Pacific and Middle East. Over to you, Leon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor to be the first company to showcase today. Let me just share my screen and I'll get straight into it. So I'm here on behalf of a network called Marco Polo, which is a network being built by the company I work for, TradeIX, in partnership with R3. We've been around for about 4 years as a network. We're a distributed platform, blockchain-based platform, as I'll explain a little bit more throughout the presentation. And we're very much focused on open account trade finance globally. As you can see from the slide, a number of banks, corporates, and partners that we currently work with today. As I say, we're a distributed network, very much so. Blockchain is very much at the heart of our technology. We are an entirely decentralized or distributed network. What that means is every single platform distributed within Marco Polo is decentralized or is run independently. And all of the information that's exchanged across the Marco Polo network is entirely peer-to-peer and entirely permissioned, which does differ to the architecture in some blockchain-based networks. We chose this model for a number of reasons, in particular because it provides the ability for users to control data entirely themselves. There's no central platform, there's no centralization of any information. So it enables full control of data, eliminates any vendor or third-party risk, and also provides the ability for a lot of standardization and interoperability for the future. And we chose Corda, R3's Corda technology as the backbone for Marco Polo. So just very quickly about how it works. So we have, as I say, a decentralized network, as you can see from the image at the bottom there. So each of the participants, be they a corporate customer, a supplier, or a buyer, be they a funder, an insurance company, or a logistics company, are all independently deployed on the Marco Polo network. And how each platform works is it's really a component of 3 different parts. So we have the network layer, which is Corda, which is the data exchange and messaging layer within Marco Polo. And then Marco Polo is a platform that operates on top of Corda, which is what has been developed and designed by us. And Marco Polo contains a number of different modules or applications. So for us here at Marco Polo, as I say, we're focused very much on open account trade finance. So the first 3 solutions we have deployed on the network are receivables discounting, supplier pay, which is a similar solution to supply chain finance, or a little bit different, and also payment commitment, which is the one I'm going to focus on more today for the demo. Very quickly, why we did that and what the value is to users within the network. So firstly, it's very much focused as one network for multiple trade solutions. So a consolidated platform for multiple bank and multiple corporate interactions. Can work with existing solutions such as an ERP system or a bank back office system. Has all the full security, privacy, and data control benefits that DLT or blockchain provides, and it's very much a connect once to connect to many solution. In other words, you join once into the network and you can participate and be permissioned to work with any other user within the Marco Polo network. Very quickly about the solutions before I jump into the demo. So those who are very familiar with trade or trade finance will know there's really 2 major categories of solutions: payment assurance products such as letters of credit, guarantees, insurance, etc., and financing solutions. And within Marco Polo, we're really looking to cover both of these from the very beginning. So within Marco Polo, we have a product called Payment Commitment, which I'll be showing you the demonstration for today. It's a new digital trade settlement method, really focused on risk mitigation based on the matching of trade data within the system. And then we have 2 financing solutions, as I mentioned: Supplier Pay, which is a holistic supplier payment solution, including financing, and receivables discounting, or traditional invoice discounting or factoring solution. And they're all available, as I've said, on a single global distributed platform. So very quickly, payment commitment as a product, as I said, it's a new digital trade settlement method. It's really focused on risk mitigation, so an irrevocable commitment to pay being provided on the basis of data matching rather than documentation and physical manual checking, as most people will be familiar with products like collections and letters of credit. So it's very much focused on digital matching of trade data to provide risk mitigation. It is not a replacement for a letter of credit. It is a different solution. It's also not the same as open account. It has similarities to both of them, but it also has differences to both of them. It truly is a hybrid solution. Just very quickly how it works. So you typically would have three participants, a seller, a buyer, and a bank. They share trade data on a permission basis between the parties. So purchase orders, invoices, and shipping information. That data will match in the system based on rules that are set up. And that information will then drive a commitment to pay. Everything is visible and transparent to all parties, but it is very much done so on a secure and private basis between those participants within that transaction. So I'm going to jump into the software and show you a very quick demonstration of some of the features. Today, I'm going to use a couple of different examples here. So there's 4 participants in this particular transaction. As you can see, they are all independently deployed instances of the platform on Marco Polo. We have a buyer and a seller from Japan, a buyer importer in India in this case, and 2 banks supporting the transaction. And what I'm going to show you are a couple of different features. So I'm going to show you a little bit about programs, how data is exchanged and matched, and then how an effective payment commitment is issued within the platform. So let me just jump into the platform very quickly. So here we are. So as you can see from the top, there's 4 tabs. So these are the 4 platforms, individual platforms here. So what you can see right now is a mega bank. So this is effectively the buyer's bank. I'm just going to show you very quickly an example of a program. So what a program is really a set of rules that govern how that transaction will work. And the rules are very configurable. So if you jump straight in here, for example, you can see rules around currencies and really importantly around data processing. So this is really all about what data is required within a transaction, and then which data is required to match within a transaction. So as you can see here, there's a number of different data points can be completely configured as to whether those data points are mandatory or optional. And you can also create fields yourself, and you can also include line item information, really important. So it's not just header details, it's all the way down to line items. And then effectively, once you've created the data templates, then you can build the matching rules. So you can decide to match between 2 data sets or 3 data sets, and then you can configure as many matching rules as you wish based on the data you have within the platform. And you can set things like tolerance levels. It's really very configurable as to how you want to set up matching rules. And really this governs what happens to the data when it comes into the platform for a particular payment commitment transaction. So what I'm going to do now is jump into Japan Auto. So Japan Auto is the seller or the supplier in this case. And as you can see from their ledger view on the left-hand side here, they have a number of different views. So effectively they can see transactions at different stages within the process. So if I click on purchase orders as an example, they can see all of the purchase orders which have been raised to them from Delhi importers, and they can see the status. So in this case, we have what's called a contingent payment commitment that's been issued, and they can go and see all of the details of the transaction here within this view. But what I'm going to show you today is probably something that's a little more interesting, which is when data starts to match. So if I go into an invoice, for example, and I click on one of these invoices here, I can see across the top here that these 3 data sets, you can see the green arrows, these 3 data sets have matched, which means in this case, it's been a successful match and an effective commitment to pay has been issued. And I can view down further down here to see, the details of each of these matching rules and where things have been successful. But what I can also show you is when that hasn't been successful. So in this case, I would get a task if data has not matched within a transaction. I'd get a task, and that task would allow me to to verify data almost as a pre-step, as a pre-match. And this is really one of the big benefits, showcases the benefits of blockchain. In this case, the data hasn't yet been sent to any of the other parties within the network. So the data is only sitting with the supplier. They have the ability to view the mismatch, for example. So, this would be a discrepancy, as many people would know in trade finance. They can see, for example, here the invoice and logistics information has not matched. So you can click down and see, in this case, the goods description is different in the logistics data as it is from the invoice. So in this case, there's been a mismatch. It hasn't enabled it to be processed, and the supplier can choose to either import new data if in fact the information was incorrect. Maybe there was an error in the goods description or something needs to be amended, or they can actually approve the mismatch within the workflow online, and then that will trigger various additional approval processes, for example, from the buyer, the customer, and then ultimately from the bank. So discrepancies or mismatches can all be handled online as well. And then ultimately, what that ends up providing is what we call an effective commitment to pay, which is an irrevocable commitment to pay from the buyer's bank in favor of the supplier. So similar to a letter of credit, it provides the supplier with an absolute commitment to pay from a bank, which helps them to mitigate risk within their transaction. So in this case, you can see the effective IPU is created. You can see all of the details associated with the effective IPU, and you can see a legal message, for example, which this one is just a dummy message, but it would effectively link it back to the governing documents of the transaction. We have a rule book within Marco Polo which governs the creation of these IPUs, and so everything ties back, effectively to the legal governing documentation. So you can see all the information within here. So this is the payment commitment workflow. Obviously, that was a very, very short and quick view of some of the components of payment commitment. As you can see on the left-hand side here, you can toggle. You could toggle to the receivables discounting module very, very easily if you're also using that module, and then you could potentially create a funding request or look at your invoices through your receivables discounting ledger as well. So as I mentioned at the very, very beginning, it really is the first step towards a consolidated platform for certainly open account trade finance solutions within Marco Polo. So that was really all I was going to show today. We have a virtual booth. Always happy to meet and talk a little bit more about the solutions. So please feel free to come along to the virtual booth or get in touch with me directly. I think also there was an opportunity for questions to be posted into the chat if you had any. So please feel free to do that, and I'll be happy to use the last 90 seconds to answer those questions. If not, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to present to you today, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you very much.
Over to you, Praful.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, Praful.
Can I start presenting?
Yes, you can go ahead. Yes.
All right. Do we have the audience also? I'm assuming the participants are already here.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Praful. I'm the founder of CoinEarth, and I'm here to talk to you about Markets N, which is our solution. So let me just share my screen, and then we will get started. Right? Can you see my screen? Aparna, can you confirm if my screen is visible?
Yes. Yes. Yes,
Right.
Praful.
All right, so the way we look at the world is that we believe that blockchains and supply chains are a very natural fit for each other. The reason that this kind of makes sense to us is because if you think about it at a slight abstraction level, a supply chain is fundamentally a value transfer network, right? It typically involves a company who engages with its suppliers or channel partners to exchange value in terms of goods, services, money, credit notes, invoices, so on and so forth. And what fundamentally blockchain is a record keeping solution for value transfers between parties. The way it does it, underneath the hood, it is the way the technology works is that it does this in a verifiable way. It does this in a permanent way. And this was the hypothesis based on which we designed Markets N. The product website is marketsn.com. And the value proposition of the company for the companies really is that we allow the companies to have visibility in their supply chain beyond their ERP, right? So that's what we fundamentally do. The context why we think is important. Well, if you look at what has happened with COVID, supply chain disruptions are the new normal, right? And the data shows that 51% of supply chain disruptions actually occur beyond the first year of supplier. And very few companies actually have visibility beyond their first year of suppliers. Another interesting statistics come from the logistics or transport industry, where about $140 billion are tied up in disputes for payments, right? And this is primarily due to disagreements about what was agreed upon and what was delivered and what was the price. Another interesting aspect that we see in supply chains are the delays in payments, a common problem for both Fortune 1000 companies and SMEs. And despite that, a lot of friction in supply chain financing, preventing preventing banks and NBFCs from actually financing these transactions. So whether we talk about delays in supply chain, whether we talk about disputes, payment disputes, or we talk about disruptions, we believe that they are all symptoms of a more fundamental problem, which is data silos. So if you look at a supply chain on the left, where you have an enterprise and different companies, each one of them today has their own IT system, their ERPs, their CRM. But each one of these ERP systems and companies are working in silos. And even though they are digitized within the enterprise, as soon as it comes to exchanging information between enterprises in terms of purchase orders, invoices, credit notes, we kind of end up relying on PDFs or paper documents to exchange this information. And that creates a huge load in terms of integration and reconciliation. A known problem, 67% of organizations acknowledge that there are data inconsistencies in the supply chain. Now, this is not a new problem, has been known for several decades. And today, the state of our technology in this is EDI, electronic data interchange. The problem with EDI is that it's a point-to-point solution and cannot really scale to complex supply networks of today, right? So today's supply chains include contract manufacturers, suppliers, financiers, channel partners, and so on and so forth. And this is the reason we created MarketSend, which is a blockchain-based solution. And the way to think about MarketSend is think of it as a Slack or WhatsApp for B2B transactions. As the picture shows, there is no centralization. We are in a decentralized world. So each entity can host a node in the network, or we also allow entities to share nodes, and that reduces the cost of the solution. This is what enables B2B transactions, and fundamentally it unifies supply chain operations and finance. So for the some people who are more technically oriented, this is the way we believe the world will shape up as far as blockchains are concerned. The small donuts that you see here are private blockchains that we spin up on markets and using Hyperledger Fabric, right? So these are the small groups or private blockchains that we create for our customers, right? Then we have built a proprietary layer 3 bridge, which then connects this to public registries on public blockchains. Right now we support Tezos and Ethereum. And these public registries are typically NFT registries, where assets created on the private blockchain are authenticated via the public blockchain. Our solution is hosted on the cloud and is ready to use for customers as a service. We support an API because we acknowledge and understand that enterprises are not going to throw away their technologies, so which they have invested in. So we allow integration via API with ERPs, CRMs, and so on and so forth. Of course, there's a mobile and web UI also available. The value proposition of why companies should create such permission blockchain and permission networks. The first one comes with cash flow, right? This is for the CFOs who are here or finance and accounts professionals. If you think about it, a lot of capital today is actually locked up in documents. Things like outstanding invoices, things like bill of ladings, unpaid credit notes. These are all holders of value, but they have not yet been realized. And what the platform really does using the blockchain technology, it creates these into digital collaterals backed with an audit trail. And this really allows these digital assets to be used as collaterals in financing. And that is one of the biggest value propositions that we see for companies who want to improve their cash flow using a solution which is based on blockchain, is to convert their documents into digital assets that can be used as collaterals. So that is the first value proposition. The second value proposition that we see is enabling deep visibility. Now, one interpretation of deep visibility is inventory. The ability to see inventory distributed across organization boundaries requires a multi-party solution, and that is where again blockchain comes in. The ability to have visibility to the inventory, not only what you are holding, but your suppliers, suppliers of suppliers, or channel partners are holding. Another interpretation of visibility is process visibility, right? The ability to coordinate changes in real time back with an audit trail. So requiring an order to be modified is a huge, huge problem in supply chains because it completely messes up the account payables and receivables and what is due and what was done. Backed with an audit trail in blockchain means that everything can be coordinated and there's an audit trail of who did what. The third value proposition where we really use the smart contracts part of blockchain is reconciliation. This is again one of those hidden devils that few people talk about. But reconciliation is basically the scenario where two parties who are transacting have different views of the world in terms of payables and receivables. One party believes that it should be paid X dollars, whereas the other party believes no, that it has to pay only Y dollars, right? And this kind of discrepancy between one company and another company leads to delays in payments, leads to disputes, leads to disagreements. The way we have solved this problem is by creating this idea of programmable SLAs, service level agreements. These are typically terms and conditions that you see in a paper document in a purchase order, and they are written in an English language. What we have done is we have enabled these to be coded in a programming language. And once they are coded in a programming language and the purchase order is on the blockchain, then they are guaranteed to execute without manual intervention of either of the parties, ensuring that reconciliation is by default done by the system. And the last value proposition, which we believe is just picking up but has a huge future, is compliance with environmental and sustainable requirements. Right? As customers and regulators are increasingly demanding compliance for environmental and sustainability purposes, we allow organizations to issue digital passports of products. And these digital passports can capture the certificates related with the environmental compliance, for social compliance, and for governance compliance, starting from things like geo-origin certificates, carbon footprint, and even end-of-life recycling. Right? These are some of the customers that we work with. As you can see, variations across metal companies, agri companies, finance companies. These are some of our partners that we work with, and these are some of the awards that we have won. Right? I know we are short on time, so I will probably pause here with some of the value propositions that I talked about, and then open the floor for any questions so that we can have a discussion. I'm not sure if there's a separate question answer panel that we should be looking at. Okay, so there's no question. So let me see then what I can do. I can probably use the time to talk about some of the examples that we have been doing. Right. So how much time do I have left? To have 3-4 minutes? I can talk about some of these use cases. If I can get a confirmation from the organizers. Okay, I believe I have time, so I'll be stopped, I guess, when I'll be stopped. So let me give you a couple of examples of how these private blockchains are being used. So one use case is in contract manufacturing. In contract manufacturing, in this use case, we had a four-tier supply chain. There was the primary customer, there were contract manufacturers, there was packaging material providers, and there was movement of material and movement of packaging material between these parties. There were quality check processes, there were rejections, there were returns, and all this material had to be tracked as it moved across enterprise boundaries. And all parties had to agree on how much inventory who was holding. And that was one of the value propositions that we enabled for this customer. Invoice financing is another great example. We'll have a session on this in the evening tonight at 4 in the evening today. This is for an agri finance company in the agriculture sector. One of the problems that farmers and FPOs face is the time it takes to get paid. In fact, this is true not only for farmers and FPOs, but for a lot of SMEs. And value proposition here is that the invoice is now a digital asset which can be shared between the buyer, the seller, and the financier, backed with an audit trail, so that the visibility that the financier has on the invoice and the whole transaction is much deeper, which reduces their risk and therefore reduces the cost of capital for the SME. Right? Another example is in logistics. This is mineral logistics, moving from the mine to the plant. And a lot of quantity and quality information about what is being transferred needs to be shared between multiple parties. And this was the value proposition in this case. Okay. Let me take a pause here, and then I think this is the end of my session, and then I will hand it back to the organizers. Are the organizers on the call?
Hi, Praful. Yes.
Yes. Hey, cool. So Aparna, I'm done. I had kept 2-3 minutes for question answers. If there are questions, happy to take them. Otherwise, we can end the session.
Sure, you can go ahead with that. You have time until 12:50. You can go ahead.
Well, I hadn't really prepared too much. I had prepared it only for 10 to 12 minutes.
All
Let me,
right.
yeah, so I think I'm done with my session.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, Praful.
Sure.
Hi, Dinesh.
Hi.
Over to you now. Introducing you. You're the next startup from Bodity and the founder. Thank you.
Hi. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dinesh Sharma. I am from Borodi, and we are enterprise software company. We help businesses to digitize their legal and compliance functions. We've got contract lifecycle management software, which is our flagship solution, which is helping businesses like L'Oreal, Slas, Centrum, Dr. Reddy, and Nykaa, Maverick System, many companies to automate and digitize the contract management process. In last 1 year, we as a company has grown and we've gone to kind of made a lot of changes and a lot of path-breaking initiatives, which made us completely ahead of our competition, in fact, globally. So we added blockchain, we added, machine learning tools and artificial intelligence framework, so that we give a very smart solution to customers rather than just giving a workflow or a simple digitization solution. So in blockchain, we also made a lot of progress in getting partnership with R3. So we were part of a contest wherein R3, which is a global platform for blockchain, they conducted a challenge wherein we participated among 87 participants for building a blockchain-enabled contract lifecycle management software. And we were the winner and we won the whole contest. And now we are building platform on the real solution. So I just share with you our product solution, which we have kind of presented to R3 as well, and which worked really well, and which gave us the whole prize. And the whole concept of blockchain is very, very effective and very, very useful in the contract lifecycle management process. So I think with blockchain, the whole agreement execution, the whole agreement management, the whole contract processes will completely change. So I'll just share my screen and give you a feel of what the whole software is about, voluntary contract lifecycle management using blockchain.
Gaurav. To start with, let's start with the business user by sending a contract request. I will log into the business user's account in the Volody platform. And I have a dashboard which looks like this. As you can see, this is a sub-user or the business user's account. As a business user, I can create an agreement request just by clicking on create agreement request. I can templatize all the templates I have. I will select a particular template, that is a lease agreement, which company it is applicable for, some details wherein I enter an expected date of signing this agreement, the purpose of this particular agreement, a start date, and an end. Select a particular template, that is a lease agreement, which company it is applicable for, some details wherein I enter an expected date of signing this agreement, the purpose of this particular agreement, a start date, and an end date. I'll also select the currency and enter a particular value. We can also integrate with ERP and CRM packages via API to pick up the vendor names or client name or counterparty name directly in our Volody platform. If the draft has come in from the counterparty, then I can select yes and also upload the file here. It can be a PDF or a Word doc. Our software definitely converts a PDF into a Word file. And we have integration with Office 365, which allows you to see the Word online. There are some other details which are very specific to this agreement type, which I can fill in here. And if you want to make all the questions mandatory, this is also possible. The legal team has the rights to create their own questions. I'll move on to the next step. And either I can generate a Word doc or a PDF. I'll just generate a PDF file here. So based on the parameters which I have just filled in and the template which is already uploaded in the platform, my final agreement will be prepared and it will look like this. And this will be the PDF file. As a business user, I can move on to the next step and I will have three options. Either I can send a request to legal now, later, or simply proceed for approval. I'll send a request to legal now. This will go as an email to the legal user's account. So now the legal user's account will look like this. This is the dashboard for a legal user. And when I get the email alert, I can view the request to start with. I will receive all the requests here. I'll have the entire list here, which has come in from different departments. The first one being the latest. As the first step, I can view the request which is being sent by the business user. And as a legal user, I will have the rights to make any modifications to the request, considering from a legal standpoint, if there is some incorrect information, I can correct it. Click on next. And I have options to make changes to the questions answered by the business user as well. So if I feel anything is incorrect, I can make changes and simply click on generate word. Now this document will open in Office 365. As you can see, this is a Word online feature. And we also have our Volody plugin. So I can switch on review and track changes for everyone to start with. So whatever changes I make to this agreement will get tracked. If I want to select and make some changes, if I want to, for example, in this case, select this particular content and delete it, it is getting tracked with the date and timestamp and the user's name. Our plugin also gives you access to features like a clause library, wherein the legal function can maintain a repository of clauses which they can access at any point of time while negotiating the agreement. This is just an example we have uploaded in the platform. I can select a particular clause, and if I feel that it does not fit the requirement, I can simply replace with the new content. And since track changes is already on, this clause will get replaced, as you can see, and the previous one has been deleted. The next feature in our plugin is tagging metadata. All the metadata fields which were populated while creating the agreement request, I will have it here. And now we understand that while negotiating an agreement, different parameters or metadata tags get changed. So we give you the option to update those metadata tags so that reminders, notifications, and any other updates which need to go out will definitely be updated. We also have an obligations tracker wherein I can add an obligation. It's a very simple process wherein I go to the obligations clause. Considering this is my obligations clause, I can simply select the clause content. I can paste it here. I can add an obligation. So if payment to be done in 6 months, I can also add some remarks or comments and tag this to a particular individual from the organization. So this particular individual will get reminders and notifications. Start with, I can set a level. Level 1 is the lowest, and also a due date. So if I update the due date and I set a default notification days of 20 days, 20 days prior to that due date, reminders will start shooting out to the business user. And similarly, I can add escalations as well. Risk metrics is a very important feature wherein our software basically identifies risky clauses. As you can see, there are risky clauses which have been identified in this particular agreement. And we have trained this model using more than 10,000 contracts. So it will identify risky clauses, sentences, or words. And I have the word file right with me so that I can make changes depending on the risk criticality and update the risk metrics. Now I can go back to the platform, and once I've made some particular changes, I can send this agreement to the counterparty as a Word doc or as a PDF, enter their email address. I can send it to multiple people. I can add multiple people here, as you can see, and send this. Now the counterparty, as a first step, will have to register when they get the link via email. the KYC registration has to be done, wherein I'll fill in some particular details about me.
So this is one of the blockchain feature wherein we are doing the KYC verification for the vendor and for all the counterparties. So I just thought to interrupt and just give you a feel of the blockchain piece.
The counterparty, name, email address, which category I fall under, a vendor or a client, my company name, address. I click on next, update my document, certificate, passport, Aadhaar, and PAN card number. Once I upload that, I will get an OTP which I can enter and my registration will be complete. For this, the CODAP and encryption security that we have is all the KYC information will be stored in an encrypted manner in the database. And also any messaging that happens between different parties will also be encrypted. And to decrypt it, the user will have to log in via authorized access only then.
So this is basically securing the data, securing the information, also ensure that the transaction can happen through the blockchain platform.
Be decrypted. All the files will be saved in hash 256 format, which is an encryption method. So all the data throughout the platform would be safe and secure. And the communication throughout the platform will be through nodes and will be notarized so that each and every transaction is accounted for, and there are public keys for each and every transaction. So if any information which is being shared by Volody or the company to particular counterparty, it will be notarized. This would conclude the communication network. All the data that is being captured in Corda will have a unique hash code or agreement hash. So when company A or through Volody platform it is shared, it goes to company B, it will have a different hash. When the revised document gets shared back, it will have a different hash. And the final agreement will have a different hash, which basically means the document is secure. Now finalizing the agreement with Volody CLM, I will send this document for approval. Post the negotiation, I have my approval flow, which I can map depending on my requirement. We've mapped one individual here, and I will enter my comments and send this to that particular individual. Now, this agreement will go as an email to the approving authority, and I can also set multiple people in the approving authority. I'm just logging into the approver's email box. I have received this agreement, as you can see, for approval. Let me just open this. Now I will have a summary of the contract in the body of the email. I will also have the approve reject options in the body of the email. And I will also get a PDF file as an attachment. So as an approving authority, I can simply click on it and view the content of the finalized agreement, read the content, and if I'm okay with it, then select approve or reject. Let me just click on approve in this case. And I will enter my comments. Now this agreement transaction will shoot out to the legal user, notifying him or her that the agreement has been approved. As you can see, I can view the details about the approval, who is approved, what date and what time, what was the comment. Similarly, if there are multiple approvers, I'll have the trail here. Now, post the approval process, I can have two steps. I can either have a e-stamping or a digital signature process. Let me just show you how DocuSign works. I click on DocuSign, wherein I can map different individuals for the signatory matrix also, depending on the contract type. I can add the counterparty here as well. So that post my signature or approver signature, it will move on to that particular individual, the counterparty. And the signature process is also very simple, wherein we can just do it over email. And DocuSign is a very safe and secure portal. So I get an email for signature, but I will not receive any attachment. I can review the document. Now this document will open in the DocuSign portal, which makes the entire process very secure. So the document is currently opening in the DocuSign portal. Now I can view the content of the document. This is the final content, and I can place my signature and simply click on finish. And that concludes the contract signature piece, and the contract is finalized. This finalized agreement will automatically be picked up in our platform. We also have other features like an audit trail, which will give you information about this particular agreement, when it was created, when the request was modified, when it was sent for approval, all the other details. You can also have an addendum, renewal, or termination contract attached to this, like a father-child relationship, wherein you have your master agreement and all the supporting agreements below. Another smart feature we have is uploading offline contracts or legacy contracts. So all your historical contracts can be a part of the platform, which makes it easier to refer information from the past. And we have a smart feature which gives you the flexibility to upload documents in bulk. So I have a few documents here, which are different contracts. I can open this and upload. Now all the contracts have different metadata tags, have different contract names, counterparty names. So our software smartly picks up the company name, contract name, counterparty name. What is the counterparty type can be uploaded here. Department can be uploaded here. Start date has been picked up. Similarly, all the information will get picked up, and this model has an 80% accuracy. If there is some changes, then I can, of course, update it manually. And all your legacy contracts will be a part of the platform. The dashboard is very interactive as well, wherein you have different parameters, and all these are drill down type of parameters, wherein if I click on a particular item, it will take me to a detailed level. Everything is clickable. So if I want to see how many contracts are due for expiry for a particular month, I can click on that and I'll have a list here. We also have a content search option, which gives you the flexibility to search for content in the agreement rather than just the metadata tags, which makes the search and retrieval process very easy. This is all in all our contract management platform, the smart contract management software. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think let me stop sharing. So thanks so much for your time, and the product which you just saw in the video. This gives you at least more than 40% time saving in drafting and signing the whole contract. It also help you to perform all the even financial transaction using the blockchain framework. We use a lot of machine learning features as well to make things far more smarter. We'll be more than happy to connect with you if you are interested to know more about this product. Please reach out to us through IMI or directly through our website www.volody.com. This is something post-COVID. It's no more really an option to have a contract lifecycle management software. It's more of a necessity now. So I think any question if you have, I'll be more than happy to answer. Priyanka Parna? Okay. All right. So thank you so much. Thanks for your time, and
Dinesh, thank you for your time.
Sorry, Aparna, you're saying something.
Yes, thank you, Dinesh, for your time. Thank you very much for the session. Thank you for being a part of us.
All right. Look
Good
forward
day.
to many more.
Thank you. Thank you, Dinesh.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Good day.
Same to you.
Hello, Srivatsa.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful.
Welcome, Srivatsa. He's the co-founder from TraceX. You can go ahead.
Hi.
Thank you.
Can I start the
Yes,
presentation?
you can start the station. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just share my desktop. Just give me a second. Can you all see my desktop?
Yes, we can view it. Thank you. You can go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Hi, thank you. Thank you so much, firstly, for giving us the opportunity to be presenting here. We're very excited about it. And then, yeah, very quickly to walk you all through the work that we do. So I'm Srivatsa. A quick introduction about myself. To start with, I'm Srivatsa. I'm one of the co-founders here at TraceX. And what we are passionate about here in TraceX is about digitizing the food and agriculture ecosystem with a sole purpose of ensuring that the supply chains are safer, transparent, and traceable, right, for every participant of the supply chain. Uh, so this is the team that's the leadership team that's putting it together. Anil Narig, my co-founder, Manu, who is heading the growth and strategy for us, and then we have domain experts like Raghav, who help us a lot to understand how the domain itself works. So let's go back and then see from a consumer standpoint, what is it that we're trying to solve here. So if you look at the current food supply chains, we strongly believe that transparency in food supply chains from a consumer standpoint as well as from an organization standpoint is pretty much non-negotiable because especially when consumers are growing conscious by the day, especially with the current situation post-COVID, when people want to know more information about what they consume. It's imperative that the brands would have to be positioned to meet their consumer demands. It's not just about knowing where the food is coming from. It's even in-depth information about what goes into making the food, how safe that is to eat, how sustainably grown, and there are consumers, the growing tribe of consumers who appreciate the sustainable production of food, sustainable production and consumption of food. Therefore, it puts a significantly larger responsibility on the brands to meet the consumer expectations. But if you see, it's not very easy, right? Unfortunately, it's not very easy for consumers, for the brands to achieve this. Let's talk about a few use cases and see how we're helping some of our customers. On the similar line of thought, we work with a coffee startup here in Bangalore, which is very highly passionate about the coffees they make. And obviously they're doing all right things. So therefore, they want to talk about the right things that they do, right from ethically and sustainably, responsibly sourcing the coffee, being very authentic about the blends of the coffee they make. For example, some of the coffees that they make are 100% Arabica, which is the berries of the coffee sourced from mountains of Chikmagalur. Which is in Karnataka the best place to grow Arabica coffees. Then one of the largest, one of the very important claims they make, or one of the biggest claims they make, is about freshness of the coffee itself, right? Their promise to their consumers are that their coffees are not roasted more than 28 days old, and obviously they have several food safety standards that they follow. So if you look at several of these claims, and if they have to achieve this level of transparency, obviously they have to work very consistently with every participant in the supply chain. I'm just taking an example of a coffee supply chain here, but then the entire food supply chain is as complex as it can get, right? So if you have to consistently deliver this consumer experience, again, it's imperative that the brands will have to work very closely with everyone in the supply chain network. And when I say everyone, we're talking about several parties, right, from producers to intermediaries that work with that aggregate the smallholders. If the setup is that of a smallholder, then the primary processors, the secondary processors, the distributors, and so on and so forth. So inherently, there is a lack of trust in the supply chain, because several times you may not even have an established relationship with these parties in the supply chain, and therefore there is again no ability for someone to track and trace the produce as it moves through the supply chain, right from producer all the way till the point of consumption. So resulting in compromising of quality and food safety compliances that the brands would have set for themselves, right? Again, I'm just taking the example of coffee, but this is pretty much the same if you look at any value chain. So how are we helping such customers? So that is through our digital agriculture platform called FoodSign, which is a full stack digital platform which is seamlessly integrated with blockchain to ensure that the data which is exchanged across the participating networks on participating actors on the blockchain network is immutable, is secured, is auditable, and verifiable. Essentially, the platform allows everyone in the supply chain to interact with each other and exchange information which must be democratic across the network. The information, the common information about the food, which must be democratically shared with everyone across the network, is what actually goes into the blockchain ledgers, and that's made transparently available for everyone across the system, right from production of the system to aggregation to processing of that agriculture produce or any food for that any food product for that matter, all the way till consumer. So anyone in the supply chain, the network participants can trace the food back to its origin beyond their upstream supplier and downstream consumer. What is this eventually leading to? Essentially, a platform that's encouraging data that can be verified, auditable, and leading to a mutual trust and accountability amongst the participating actors, right? So that's essentially what we're getting to. We work on several, supply chains. The one that I talked about is coffee. So if I were to very briefly talk about coffee, extend upon the coffee story a little bit, the application is being used at the plantation by the growers themselves. Then the primary processor of coffee, who is the curing works, typically at the same location as where the coffees are grown. So they use our application. Then the roastery, when the raw coffees comes to the roastery, then the roastery uses our application to feed in information about the roasting itself. And eventually, when the coffee beans go all the way over to the cafe or directly sold on the e-commerce direct to consumer channel, and every pouch of the roasted bean ships in with a QR code that helps consumers like I and you trace the coffee back to its origin. When I say origin, I mean there are several information that's encapsulated in the blockchain itself. But then the customer that we work with, which is Clay Coffee, by the way, so they talk about the source, the roasting profile, the tasting notes, which talks about the quality that they process they follow for tasting their coffees, and so on and so forth. Similarly, we work with other customers as well. While coffee is more of bean to bag traceability, we work with other customers in the agri value chain in several use cases. We work with MTR Foods in sustainable production and consumption of aflatoxin-free chilies, where MTR is directly working on a contract farming model or a PPP model, private public partnership model, directly with MTR Foods in sourcing residue-free, aflatoxin-free chilies. So entire project digitized on a platform, every single farmer's information there, the standard operating procedures followed all through the production, all of that goes into the blockchain, eventually making every bag of chili that's shipped from the farmer group, farmer producer group, making it traceable on a platform like us. The other example I want to quickly talk about is the implementation of product with world's largest trader called Olam, who is leveraging our platform for production of quality, traceable, and residue-free basmati rice. The project itself is in Haryana, Fatehabad district, where Olam is working in partnership with Bayer with over 300 farms there who are producing basmati rice, which is expected to be exported out of India, the whole to the US and European countries. Therefore, again, residue-free traceability, all of that is non-negotiable. That entire project leverages our technology platform, not just to track the pre-harvest and the production practices, but also to democratically make the residue testing data, the residue testing report available on via the blockchain for anyone to consume and then see how sacrosanct the produce is from here. We recently shipped a container. When I say shipped, we shipped. It's working with the government of Kerala. That's essentially working with the farmers over there in production of Naindran variety bananas, which is promoted by Kerala's Fruits and Vegetable Promotion Council, which directly works with farmers, banana growing farmers, who are growing bananas, which is expected to be exported over to the UK to fulfill the needs of the Keralite diaspora in the UK, right? So now the whole project was run on our technology platform. So where a 20 metric ton of the entire raw bananas, Indian variety bananas, were exported over to the UK, tracked firstly the entire production practices, tracked production, processing, so on and so forth, tracked on our platform and exported over to the UK. I just want to talk about how this works. Just want to give you a quick overview. I'm just going to scan. Just give me a minute. I'll scan the QR code here on this label. This is the actual label, and then I open the traceability, and the traceability renders. This is from the actual batch that has been transported over to the UK. And when I, as a consumer, and this we see this a label that's on the retail counter, this is what I see as a consumer about this product itself. The production of this bananas, who promoted it, the actual picture of the farmer, where was it grown, and various pictures and videos that we've captured during the production on the field, and the journey of the product, which talks right from the planting, crop harvesting, transferred, and multiple processing that it has gone through. Raw bananas go through a treatment first, and then processing, and finally packing and transferred over to the exporter. So this is what we are talking about. That's just an example of what I wanted to showcase here. And similarly, we're working on several other value chains. We are working with the government of Telangana for traceability in the seed supply chain, where the entire production of seed production itself for 4 varieties of paddy is tracked on a platform, eventually making every bag of seed that is sold through State Seed Corporation being made traceable on our platform through the blockchain ledger that we have. So again, we work on several other value chains. To start with, we have several brands as well. We have a brand that manufactures ragi porridge that's leveraging our platform. It's a consumer brand, right? So that's leveraging our platform to create the traceable supply chain. To talk about the traceable supply chain, then we work with a free-range eggs company. We work with a coffee brand, like I talked about, and several other core agriculture value chains as well. Another case that we are right now piloting here in India is the dairy traceability. This is a project that is in progress right now as we speak, where we are creating entire traceable value chain for the milk or the dairy sector, where right from the first mile collection of milk from the dairy farmer all the way till it's consumed by a consumer in the city, and how do you build that entire supply chain traceability when consumers are holding the packet of milk, they know which exact location it's coming from, what was the source, SNF and fat, and so on and so forth, which talks about quality and so on and so forth, and obviously the manufacturing process that it has gone through. we see more and more, value chains adopting solutions like this. While we started off with just agri produce first, now, like I said, we're evolving our solution into different sectors: dairy, eggs, livestock. There are several use cases that we are evaluating as we speak, and in aquaculture as well. And in agri seeds, like I said, we've already implemented some of them. So when it comes to the subscription of the solution itself, we offer our solution a full stack solution in the agri value chain, because like you said, we have the entire, right from farm management to pre-harvest and post-harvest management, digital platform, value chain digitization for agriculture. For other sectors, we can simply bring in our blockchain enablement through our API blockchain API gateway that we've created, which can be consumed on a SaaS model as an API service. A few snapshots of the product, so which is the digital platform that I'm talking about: pre-harvest, post-harvest, and traceability via the blockchain. And this is how the sort of dashboards look like, right from geo mapping and geo fencing the agricultural land to crop planning, tracking all the activities that happen on the field, tracking the procurement of produce from the farmers, as well as managing the post-harvest inventory and processing steps that are involved in manufacturing steps, or the processing steps that are involved subsequent to procurement of the raw materials, and all the way up until building consumer provenance or traceability, like I just discussed, or the same data getting leveraged for multiple other purposes, which could be internal provenance. Internal provenance is your food safety, quality. It could even be, for example, to make decisions about access, providing insurance, access to credit to the farmer, because it's all about the credible data that's available here. With that, I just want to thank you all again. That's what I had quickly planned for in this short session. I hope that's made sense to you. I'm happy to take any questions if you have any. I hope I'm well within the time. Hi, I don't know if you guys can hear me. Hello. Okay. I hear that there are no questions. All right. Thanks again. I'm assuming that I can leave the meeting. So is that so? Should I?
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I guess the host just lost the network.
Okay.
Yeah, sir. So thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Hi, Pradeep, sir.
Yeah, hi. Yeah.
So you can start.
Hello. Yes, can I start? Or?
Yes.
Can you able to see my screen? Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is Pradeep here. So I represent Param Network. So Param is a blockchain-based startup which actually helps to streamline the B2B commerce collaboration. So I'm part of the founding team, takes care of field engineering and growth of Param. So just to give a quick context about me, so I have a strong banking experience of more than 8 years and joined a couple of startups earlier, and now part of this Param core team to streamline the B2B commerce collaboration. So let's actually jump on to what is Param. So Param is today we understand this B2B commerce is very broken. So for example, a lot of documents that gets exchanged within the organization and also outside the environment with your suppliers and others. And any commerce transaction, it also comes with different service providers who are coming, like logistics for transporting the goods, compliance, like governments will come for a lot of this e-way bill and other IRP portals. Compliance is coming in, and banks comes for payment integrations and invoice discounting, credit financing, etc. So a typical commerce transaction does not involve only two parties, but it has multiple parties and multiple documents that gets exchanged. So to simplify, the complexity arises because different parties have different workflows, different documents in a different format, and everything is happening in a completely different environment, and many parties are involved in this transaction. So fundamentally, these three problems arises a very complex global problem of the collaboration, which is mismatched. So predominantly of the transaction today is happening manually, where email is the best way to communicate the information. So most of the enterprise are inefficient, especially in handling API processes, and that costs millions of dollars for every year. And like you have shared services business, which is helping to support large enterprises. So even internally, these are certain statistics which claims 90% of the invoice globally are processed manual, and a lot of early payment discounts is avoided, so affecting the overall cash flow of the company. So what we try to do is that we try to bring a streamlined commerce collaboration flow using blockchain technology, where as a platform, we are capable to understand and integrate with ERPs. So there is a seamless exchange of communication. We can communicate between ERP to ERP so that the flow of data is real-time and instantaneous, and it's completely decentralized. So since as a platform, we build on more like entire document collaboration, so we have now focused on specifically sharing trade documents like purchase orders, your invoices, shipment status for real-time tracking and reconciliation. So this is one of the use cases that we have built on our platform, which can be which solves the majority of commerce problems and collaboration problems in today's transaction. So what we want to bring is like a WhatsApp-like experience. Today, WhatsApp or WebEx or Zoom-like experience we want to bring in. So people can actually come and participate. They give details. I mean, like it's today how your Teams or Zoom, like with a click of a link, I mean, like people will download the application and both the parties can communicate. So we have established a similar thought process to ensure that this particular shipment details, everything is completely automated. So how do we collaborate is we provide a decentralized way of collaboration with all parties who are involved in this particular supply chain. We do a direct integration of with the ERPs or custom middleware solutions with enterprises and suppliers. Or if the supplier is a very small and medium enterprise who doesn't have a big infrastructure, we provide a Zoom-like software which will actually help for these small suppliers and small service providers to come and participate into a larger blockchain. Thereby, we are completely eliminating the need of consortium, and with a very simple mobile application and a desktop application, a small vendor can come and participate into a larger blockchain ecosystem. Just to give a glimpse of our software, so this is a Zoom-like software what we provide free for SMEs. So all the purchase order from the enterprise can be automatically synced, and the PO details will be shared instantly with your supplier information. What people see is this familiar format. I mean, like it's a familiar format of purchase order, but what system understands is the structured format. So there is a JSON link data format, which actually system understands, so that we can integrate with any systems. Knowledge graph can be built on top of it. So there is an electronic exchange of data. So we do also support for compliance reasons to attach physical documents. But at the same time, what system shares is this electronic structured data. So it's easy for us to do a lot of automation here. So we can also add a lot of these supporting documents through something called workflows. Like we know it's not like, hey, I give a purchase order, the other party gives a invoice immediately. So there is always a multiple transactions, like I need to know the in-transit details. There should be a e-proof of delivery, or proof of delivery has to be obtained. Only based on that, the invoice can be validated and then approved. So in those contexts, what we have given, a GRN has to be updated. So all these kind of logics we have built using a zero code workflow, which is completely without any tech dependency. You can just drag and drop feature. You can just create all the custom workflows. The interesting part of this workflows is that multiple parties can also participate. So today, all the SAPs and ERPs of the world is focused on single enterprise oriented, but our workflows are multi-enterprise collaborative workflow we have built. So different parties from different environment can come and participate, so that your validation cycle is automated using our blockchain smart contracts. So with this, what we achieve great is we do a real-time sharing of disputes to all the parties. So today, dispute sharing itself is a big task, and resolution is another big task which is happening manually. So our platform provides a real-time sharing of disputes and resolution. Also, we provide an instant dashboard for accounting reconciliation. We have supplier-wise reconciliation across currency-wise. It can also, I can just click on every individual supplier and then view at a PO level. At a purchase order level, we can actually go and view reconciliation. And this reconciliation is always synced 100%, 24/7, 365 days synced with both the parties. So just to give a summary of the platform, so this is a single platform which will connect all partners, gives a single source of truth of the entire transaction lifecycle. It's a purpose-built state mission which actually helps to, it's an enhanced commerce knowledge that we have actually inbuilt in the system. So it's more like the first protocol for commerce, which natively understands commerce and commerce-related transactions. So we bring this WhatsApp-like or Zoom-like experience with respect to the traditional ERP. So we use something called permission public network, where it is end-to-end encrypted. That's where we use the power of infrastructureless or a serverless capacity for small and medium vendors to come and participate into a large blockchain system. So with this, we bring a lot of other automations like electronic proof of delivery, zero code workflow, etc. on this particular platform. So it's been 2.5 years we have built this core IP. So we built this platform, and a couple of use cases that we have built on top of it is on reconciliation, account APR automation, etc. So with this, what we achieve from the value proposition from the enterprise perspective. So finance team gets a instant reconciliation. The processing time of invoice validation is completely reduced. It's like as equal to instantaneous, but we just put 3 days for some compliance requirements, some approval, etc. And the productivity of your finance team increases tremendously, almost a 15x productivity that we achieve, ensuring all the GST and VAT compliance is actually taken care. From the operations side, we are trying to digitize all the logistics document and reducing the complete redundant manual process, and give a real-time order visibility by bringing multiple parties into our equation. It gives a multi-enterprise order visibility. So every parties can come and participate, and they can share information electronically. So you can do a lot of forecasting, production planning, etc. with the operations. Overall enterprise, we bring a significant cash flow efficiency and also we can have a lot of options to unlock the finance options, and of course reducing the carbon prints. So what we see as Param here is, we understand ERP has a lot of commerce-aware platform, and your email is a very great tool for multi-enterprise collaboration. So Param is just a marriage of both ERP and your email PDF, so which will actually have both commerce understanding and also like PDF, email kind of a collaboration tool that we have established. So few of significant achievements that industry recognitions we have achieved is we're part of Next Big Idea context from Government of Canada. So part of NPCI's FinTech Accelerator program by THEB and Telangana government's Blockchain Accelerator. We have also recently got selected in K Startup Grand Challenge program in South Korea, where we were participating in Korean market to take on the acceleration program. So we have some good customers in place. One of the large automobile industry in the country who's actually using this particular platform for automating their transport invoices by digitizing their electronic documents, electronic LR and electronic POD. We are working with other e-commerce brand, kids brand for vendor portal automation, accounts payable and APR automation. So likewise, we have achieved, on the other side, we work with very large PSU for bringing import order visibility right from shipment of goods from the abroad. Where is it going? What are the freight forwarder details, AWB details, clearing agent details? So we bring a real-time order visibility of all the parties so that a lot of forecasting can be done, demurrages can be avoided. So these kind of significant value additions that we bring to the customers. It's been backed by a strong team, so with second-time entrepreneur, and we have some good advisors on the board who is supporting our vision. And this is what we want to achieve. So as predominantly blockchain companies as finance oriented, which is more like pre-contract and post-contract, which is more like from the public blockchain side. Private blockchains are great in solving pointed solutions, but the challenge comes when you want to interoperable between two blockchains. That's where the purpose of blockchain gets defeated. And how do we bring small and medium enterprises who are not part of, who cannot afford any infrastructure capabilities to a blockchain kind of an environment? That's where private blockchains have some hindrances. So that's where Param tried to solve, where we want to be a universal commerce chain, where even a small supplier or a water can supplier or a peanut vendor can come and participate to a very large organization and exchange documents digitally, and both the parties have the equal rights on the ecosystem and can achieve larger automation in our space. So that's all from my side. I'm open for questions. If at all anything from your side, happy to answer. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Pradeep sir.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you so much for presenting.
Sure. Thank you everyone. Thanks for the opportunity.
So next up we have Mr. Ravikant Agarwal, Chief Strategy Officer from Doctor Labs. Over to you, sir. Hi, Ravi sir. Can you hear us? Hi, Ravi sir.
Hi,
Hi, hi.
I think there is some echo.
Because you have logged in twice, I guess.
I think there are two logins.
I suggest remove this one and let him in again.
No, there's only one now. There's only one.
Oh, this was one from the prior one.
Now I
Okay.
think now is it
Cool.
better?
Yeah, I think hope my audio and video both are okay.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
quite good.
Great. All right. Thank you, IMAI, for having me today. And it's a great opportunity to showcase our product. So I think if you are live, let me quickly share my screen and get started.
Sure, sir. We are live. Over to you, sir.
Great.
Thank you.
So I'm trying to share my screen. Let me know in case if you can see that. Is my screen visible?
No, we are not able to see your screen.
How
Now
about
it
now? Cool. All right, so I think before I get started, let me give a quick introduction about myself and also the introduction to Blockster Labs. So I am Ravikant Agrawal. I am co-founder and chief product officer at Blockster Lab. What we are developing at Blockster Lab is very, very interesting stuff. We are working in the space of digital identity and data privacy. I think most of us are aware about data privacy from the context of using WhatsApp and Facebook, and digital identity is certainly growing as we are entering more and more into online market. And thanks to COVID, this space has been now becoming a focus for major companies where they wanted to make their identity, or rather the digital identity, more robust. Right. So what we are going to be talking today is a self-sovereign identity, and this is a new method of creating, storing, and verifying digital identity. Right. So we have different mechanisms since the evolution of internet where we are talking about digital identity, and it all started with the centralized identity being the first one, and then the federated identity, which we know in the form of uses of Google as a SSO or Facebook as an SSO. But now what we are entering into is a new way of digital identity, and that is what we call as a self-sovereign identity. So to bring everybody on a quick page, what I've got on my screen is a value proposition. So some of the differentiator that SSI brings to the table is, first of all, leveraging blockchain in terms of anchoring up what we call as a DID, and this makes the transactions that are recorded as tamper proof. And as any other blockchain solution, cryptography, it's at the heart of SSI as well, which makes the solution as tamper proof. We are leveraging open standard. That's where the community acceptance for this technology is way higher compared to the other solutions out in the market. Privacy preserving is the again an important aspect where we are using zero knowledge proof, secured using cryptographic as we understand, and interoperable, which is where we are not having any vendor lock-in. So with this value proposition, what we are building is making the solution a little more differentiative compared to the existing solution. And some of the use cases on my right hand side of the screen, if you see, whether it is the passwordless authentication or cutting short the customer onboarding because of the digital credentials being exchanged, or otherwise any type of your education certificate, different types of batches, or maybe even the transfer of assets. And this assets could be any form of digital assets which you can transfer without involving any third parties. Your health passports, especially in the COVID world, again, your COVID passports, if they are being converted into digital credentials, how easy is going to be to enter any particular hotel or showcase at an airport and get an access. Similarly, on the employee credentials, as well as secured P2P communication between two participants, which are not decrypted by any third parties. So these are some of high level use cases where we can talk about SSI implementation in the real world. So now, in order to take your focus, what I am showcasing on my screen is the core component that at Blockster Lab we have created, the platform called as Credible. Credible is, a credential management platform where we would be using it for issuance of credentials, verifications of credentials, and revocations of credentials. So this is a full-fledged production-grade platform, which we are, sharing it on a different subscription models. But at the same time, what Credible offers is it's a nature of its built, which is using open standard and open source. It's built for scalability, tested in market, and considering all the privacy by design concepts. The second core component of our solution is Adeyam, and this is your identity wallet. And when we go into the demo, you would be able to realize how Adeyam as an identity wallet is user-centric in nature, and user controls their own identity. They control all their credentials. Some of the key features for Adeyam include user centricity, built using open standards, premium features, and open source. So we, in fact, have made this public in iOS as well as and on Android, and we are one of the open source community contributor for our SDKs. Now, without taking any more time, I would like to jump on very interesting use case that we have developed, and this is a use case where we are converting national identity solutions like Aadhaar, and then we are converting this Aadhaar solution into a VC. And that is where verifiable credentials, now if they are converted, it would bring in all the features that we have talked into a couple of last slides, where it would be controlled by user, and user would be able to easily share in a selective manner to whosoever he wanted to share this credential. So second part of our demo is where we are now integrating this with an IoT device. So you can understand what we are trying to demonstrate here is a national ID, which is an established ID. We are converting that into a self-sovereign identity format through a VC, and then we would be using such a VC in order to interact with an IoT device. So I'm sure this would be an interesting demo, and I would pass it on to one of my colleagues who would be walking you through this demo for combining VC of Aadhaar and enabling with an IoT-enabled door. So passing it to Amit.
Yes, hi all. Good afternoon. So let's start with the demo. As Ravikant mentioned, that we first will convert this Aadhaar into the verifiable credential, because in existing system what happened, we have Aadhaar card, but when I want to share address only, but still we need to share the entire information. So once we convert it into the verifiable VC, so if I want to share only the name from the Aadhaar or any field from the Aadhaar credential itself, so we can do. So first we'll convert the Aadhaar card national ID into the verifiable VC, and then if I am the employment of any company, and company issued me a one credential to access the office door, something like that. So in the IoT device, we are using the Raspberry Pi. So Raspberry Pi will indicate whether my employment VC is valid or not. So when I wants to enter into the office or some hotels itself, so they wants to verify a name from my Aadhaar card, and they wants to verify my email from my employment VC. So it's a dual credential verification, simply we can say. So this is the complete use case that we are planning to show you. So yeah, in this screen on a left hand side, we have a Credible platform. So it's as Ravikant mentioned, it's a web credential management system where generally used by the issuer and verifier. And right hand side, we have mobile application Adeyam wallet. So interest of time, we establish the connection with all the organization, because in SSI world we have this connection layer on that. So first we'll converting the Aadhaar into the VC. For that, first we'll go to the UIDI website, and we'll simply download offline eKYC file. So here user will enter his Aadhaar detail. So yeah, by verifying your mobile OTP, you will simply download the file. Yeah, now user will upload this downloaded zip file to the mobile application, and once the user enter the mobile number and email, we will simply check the signature which file itself have. So if signature is matched, then we can able to show those data to the user. So once the user is confirmed with the data, simply will convert this into the verifiable VC. So this is the Aadhaar data. So yeah, the Aadhaar signature is verified by the file itself. So simply now user will apply for the VC. So request will send to the issuer of the Aadhaar. So we'll now log in as a issuer on a web panel. So inside, if I go to the connection section, there I can see there is one credential request is came from the Harsh Sharma. Simply if I go to the issue, so I can see there is one request is came. So in the issue credential screen, simply will issue this credential to the mobile user itself. So yeah, now on mobile we receive the notification that yes, you receive credential from the Bank of Future. So simply will accept this credential offer. So once the credential is accepted by the user, will simply this credential into store this credential into holder's wallet. So again, it's a decentralized wallet. So holder, as a holder, I have complete control of that credentials. So yeah, in credential section, we can see that we have Aadhaar credential stored in wallet. So now another credential which issued by me is a Blockster Lab. So now we log in as a Blockster Labs as a issuer, and again on the connection list we simply a credential to the Harsh Sharma. So we'll go to the new credential and we'll issue a employment card to Harsh. Simply we'll add those information and issue credential to Harsh. So again mobile you will simply receive the notification, and again we'll accept this credential offer, and once credential will store into the user's wallet, we can able to verify those credentials. So now in the credential tab we have two credentials that are stored in user's wallet. Yeah. So now if now I'm walking to the office, and at the office door I need to verify two credential. One is a name from the Aadhaar card, and another is an email from my employment ID. So once I have a valid credential, then only the office door will automatically open, something like that. So simply when I reach the office door, simply I scan the QR code which office door have. So currently in IoT part, we have blinking two LEDs. One is a green for you have a valid credential to access the door. So once you have a valid credential, your office door will be automatically open based on currently we have some system like RFC card and biometric system. So this is the SSI based verification we can say. So simply on a I will scan the QR code, so it will send me a proof request to my wallet. So simply I will present the proof here. So they wants to verify name from the Aadhaar card and email from the employment card. So only limited data that I am sharing here. So once I click on send proof button, we are generating proof from my wallet itself. So yeah, once the credential is received by the verifier, so this is the IoT device which we have, and once the credential is verified, the green light is blinking. So I have a valid credential that's stored into my wallet, so I can able to access the IoT door. And now in future I left job, and now Blockster Lab is revoke my employment credential. So simply I am not able to access the door. So simply we'll first revoke the credential. So we'll go to the revocation section and we'll receive the revoke the credential which earlier we issued to the Harsh. So again, if I go to the IoT door and again scan the same QR code, so it will yeah, again will generate proof from the wallet with same data. So now it says the access denied because among the two credential, the employment ID is revoked by the issuer. So I'm not able to have a valid credential, and that's why I'm not able to access the tool. So this is the simple use case that we have built up based on the IoT. Yeah, let's go to Ravika.
So I think the idea here was to demonstrate a simple use case that we can enable, but at Blockster Lab, using Credible, we have established various use cases that can be developed, especially let's say if you have education degree or a certificate, and you wanted to showcase it to your employer. Today, instead of carrying it on a physical form like a paper, we can certainly share it in a digital form to the employer. And within few clicks, employer would be able to verify whether this is tamper proof, that nobody has touched it, and at the same time whether it is not revoked by the university, right? So think about, rather I would say, imagine how simple it would be if we have all our credentials on LinkedIn and they are all verifiable credentials, so that next time if we wanted to apply for a job, the employer can just go access our details there and he can verify all the credentials, be it in your certain certification you have done or your past education degree, and you are through with your background verification. So I think that is the power of self-sovereign identity solutions that we are building, and integrating it with AI and IoT devices certainly augment more viable solution. So that's mostly from our side. We are open for questions in the chat room in case if you have any questions for us. IMAI team, I think we are done from our side.
Hi, sir. Hi, sir. So, sir, no questions from the audience. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone. Next up, we have Mr. Siddhartha, a founder and CEO of Intune. Over to you, sir.
Hey. Hi, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Just a second. Let me. Yeah. Okay. Thanks everyone for your time. The way I would run this is I'll just give you a context for first 5 minutes, then run you through a demo, and hopefully we'll still have a couple of minutes left if there are any questions. So what we are talking of here is using blockchain for structured finance, which is an industry where almost every party involved in financial services, which is from the lenders to investment bankers to investment managers, pension funds, everybody gets involved. Globally, it is an industry which is $2 to $3 trillion and spends about $10 billion just on intermediaries and expenses, etc. Now, the problem with this industry is that if you understand, and everybody has experienced lending, which is state-of-art technologies, AI-based underwriting, great digital experiences, etc., etc., and so much money gets spent there. But the moment that same loan enters the capital market cycle, which means that the lender is trying to raise capital against the loans that they have given, could be through securitization, direct assignment, using them as collateral to borrow against them. The whole thing then starts moving on an Excel sheet and email combo, which creates a lot of data discrepancy, a lot of additional costs, and very, very poor transparency. And the unfortunate part is that this is one of the processes that led to the 2008 financial crisis, the Lehman crisis, and still technology hasn't changed. Why should we worry about that in India? India is not a big securitization market or a big structured finance market, but India also we are reaching a stage where the seeker of the capital, which is the NBFC, and the provider of that capital, which is the bank, both seem to be unhappy. There have been instances which have further aggravated the crisis. Incidentally, India is 1/8 the US economy, but 1/100 the US securitization market, which means that one really big way of raising capital for lending organizations is almost insignificant in India with respect to the size of the economy. And post-COVID, there is further push for NBFC financing, and hence there is greater need for risk mitigation. Now, how is this risk mitigation being done, right? So if you just read news reports like this, you do realize that the solutions we are using, which is manually monitoring so many loans, etc., using agencies to do the monitoring, is a very, very expensive solution. The alternative to this lies in use of technology, combining blockchain and AI in a manner that you could actually do these transactions. And this is exactly what Intane does, that in the whole structured finance process from issuance to management. So it is whether you are giving loans against loans as a collateral or direct assignments or securitizations, the complete issuance process, including due diligence, and then over the cycle of that whole pool, complete management process is brought onto a blockchain with all the parties. I just earlier recorded a demo so that I don't have an issue with the network. Just excuse that it is not a very refined video, it's just a recording. So all these parties in a transaction are there. I am now logging in as the originator. The originator will have their own software systems where data would be available. So let's say the LMS data. And now I can choose the LMS data. So these are all loans in the LMS. These are dummy loans we have created. So all the loans may not have all the information. But for each of these loans, whatever information is there in the LMS will get captured. And this is to allow them to use this as their workbench. So for every single loan, they have complete details captured here. Now, one thing that I need to do is before onboarding to the blockchain is to authenticate this, which means that I need to know the real contract which is underlying these loans. I'm uploading the underlying contracts, and without waiting for the upload, I'll just start filtering. So let's say I have tens of thousands of loans that I've given. I start applying some filters to create a pool which I need to either securitize or do direct assignment or PTCs or whatever. So I've just quickly applied some filters. The moment I applied these filters, I will get a set of loans that will meet these filter criteria. Right. Now, just to show how the engine automates everything, this is an AI engine we run in the background to even automate the due diligence process on these pool of loans. So if I pick some loans and run a due diligence on this, now each of these loan data I have from the LMS as well as the AI engine which has read this. So Vandana and Siddharth is my and my wife's name. I've just created some dummy loan contracts. So let's say the Vandana Srinivas loan, we have two sources of data. One is the LMS, the other is the contract. And that is now a readily available dashboard to do reconciliation. So if there's any discrepancy, so I'm just correcting forcibly to ensure that that is reconciled. So this reconciled corrected data is the only data that gets onto the blockchain, because blockchain is one immutable version of truth, and hence it's garbage in and garbage out. So you need to ensure that everything that's going in is absolutely correct. Now getting to the issuer, so you're packaging this, structuring this, creating any security or whatever you're trying to do with these pools. So you will have a pool of loans about which you will have complete information of all the loans. Again, as I said, these are dummy loans. There may not be all data that we have put in. So it means you may see RBL Bank, but there's not RBL Bank. So there will not be background information on these loans. It's just been created to show you the demo. And now I can create different tranches depending on the risk rating, etc., of these loan pools for different set of investors. So the complete structuring of the instrument can also be done on this. Now coming to the most interesting part, that how does the investor, and this could be investor or as well as the lender. So let's say it is a large public sector bank which is financing an NBFC against their loan pool, and hence is interested in looking at the underlying loans which have been used either as a collateral, or if it's a securitization, then that's the underlying asset below the security. We do two things. We create a trustee report where whatever was the contract has been modeled as a smart contract, and all the calculations which have to be done for this security which has been created has been automatic. So if there's a multi-class transaction, so different notes, how much is to be paid to them. And in US, these are 150, 200 page structured finance contracts. Everything here has gotten modeled using smart contracts, so that from the raw loan and collections data coming in every month, all this is getting automatically calculated and is visible to the investor on the click of a button. There is no reconciliation required, no back and forth corrections to data, because everybody has one version of truth. Now, this is what is formally calculated using smart contracts, but you as an investor may generally want to do a lot of other analysis just to look at, so for example, one state has greater COVID cases and you just want to see what is your exposure to that state. So you will be able to get into complete details of the underlying loan pool, which means that if you are owning a loan pool of 20,000 loans, so every single loan in that pool and every single EMI of every single loan in that pool, you will get visibility to that level, obviously, if the NBFC is permitting you to do so. So there is different tables that have been auto-created. And in addition to these different tables, so FICO scores in US are like these CIBIL scores in a way. In addition to the different tables, you have this dashboard, which is for on-demand generation of any reports that you want. So as I said, that if you want to filter based on a state and just want to see exposure to a particular state, you can create all those filters and run the solution whichever way you want. So in an industry where there is huge deficit of trust, you can basically do anything and have a real-time transparency in the whole transaction. So just to starting to sum up post the demo. So this is what you saw, that every single party from onboarding, which is taking capital against an issue, and the whole management and administration is fully automated. Currently, we are administering about $1.5 billion since we started 9 months back. These $1.5 billion on our platform are across various different structure types. So there is a revolving line of credit, there are multi-class securitizations, there is a 2005 $420 million mezzanine structured finance cash flow, which is one of those really complex instruments that were created before the crisis. They no more exist, but this is still getting paid out and a couple of payments left. So even those structures are there on our platform. So what you saw in a way is one platform with an immutable audit trail, complete data, all the documents getting digitized, archival and retrieval, automated reporting, real-time analytics. And when people talk of blockchain, people think it's future, but the way we have used blockchain is essentially two features of a blockchain, which is an immutable audit trail and the fact that all parties using that system has been automatically reconciled. And this ensures that there is one version of truth, there is complete automation, there is complete transparency. And if the regulators permit digital assets, which is almost dematting of these securities in a way, which is now in blockchain world called tokenization, you should be able to do that. So it is technology of today under regulations of today for which you don't need to wait for anything. Because it in a way improves compliance and improves compliance to regulations. We work in the US with 2 of the top 10 trustees. That's about it from me. I just got a message that there won't be any questions. I timed it for that. So yeah, thank you, everybody. The moderator, you want to take it over?
Yeah, hi, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Slot out. Just trying to get out. Sorry, yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. So next up, we have Mr. Henry from Contours. What to you, sir?
Okay. Can I share my screen with you?
Yes, sir, you can. I've given you the
Okay. Okay, so thank you very much for the kind invitation. My name is Henry de Jong. I'm one of Quantos co-founders, and with this presentation, I would like to introduce you to our Stablecoin as a Service, which is the foundation for compliant digital payment ecosystems. Well, let's first have a look at stablecoins. What are stablecoins? Stablecoins are digital tokens that represent a stable value. And these tokens are designed to trade at parity with fiat currencies like dollars or euros, or for example, precious metals like gold and silver. And stablecoins face a growing popularity. So the market capitalization, for example, more than doubled within 4 months, from $20 billion end of November last year up to $50 billion end of February this year. So why are stablecoins so popular these days? Well, there are a number of reasons. Firstly, there are fast transactions. The transactions are irreversible and they are programmable. And our stablecoin as a solution offers very low transaction fees. We speak about a thousandth of a cent. And for the users of the stable coins, we offer enhanced privacy. Yeah, so you do not need to provide, like with a credit card, your name and your address details. But many stable coins are also facing risks. So you do not always know about the backed assets. If there are 35 billion stable coins of a certain stable coin in circulation, is there also $35 billion on a bank account? And in many situations, you can convert fiat money to stable coins, but can you also convert the stable coins back to fiat money? And last but not least, are the stablecoin ecosystems that are already there compliant with regulation? Yeah, so you do not want to participate in non-compliant payment ecosystems. So this is why we developed the stablecoin as a service solutions. The underlying technology is called Nexus, and we say that this is the gateway to the token economy. So Nexus basically connects traditional financial systems with public and private blockchains. And it enables businesses to easily integrate blockchain infrastructure into their existing financial applications. So Nexus is a secure, cost-efficient SaaS platform. It's very flexible. It can handle multiple digital assets and multiple fiat currencies. All processes are automated, and that reduces human errors. Our services are trusted by many partners. It's in production for more than 5 years already. My organization, Quantos, is ISO 27001 certificated, and we are currently working on the ISAE 3402 standard, which will be fulfilled by the end of next quarter, probably. So let's look at the stablecoin as a service model. The stablecoin as a service model has 5 different roles. First of all, there is the issuer who issues the stablecoins. And the issuer will have a bank account with a bank, and on this bank account, the backing assets, for example, dollars or euro, will be held in an escrow account. Then we have the customers or the consumers that will buy the stable coins from the issuer, spend them with the merchant, and the merchant will return the stable coins to the issuer. Finally, we have an auditor, and the auditor checks that if the coins that are in the ecosystem are backed by the money that's on the trusted bank account. And this makes sure that we have a regularly compliant infrastructure. We support fiat conversion, so stablecoins back to fiat conversion, and all the backing assets are known. Let's go step by step through this setup. Well, the issuer is responsible for the KYC and the KYB. So the client account opening is in the hands of the issuer. Consumers and merchants need to sign up for the service. And if this is done, we have the initial funding. A consumer would, for example, send $100 from his bank account to the issuer's bank account. The issuer sees that $100 come in from the bank account that is connected with this consumer. $100 in tokens will be minted and sent to the consumer's stablecoin wallet. The consumer can then start spending his tokens. For example, buy a service or a product from a merchant and pay with the stablecoins. And the merchant, let's say at the end of the day or the end of the week, can send all the stablecoins he collected to the issuer's wallet back. The issuer will then burn the tokens, so the tokens will be deleted. And after that, there will be a payout. Let's say if the merchant sent $500 on stablecoins to the issuer's digital wallet, the issuer will send $500 from his bank account to the merchant's bank account. How does the auditing and regulation look like? We have the auditor who oversees the balance equality between the bank account and the number of stable coins that are in the ecosystem. This can be done instantly, let's say every second or every minute, but normally this will be done on a weekly or a monthly basis. And finally, we have the regulator who monitors if the stakeholders in the ecosystem comply with regulation. So let me give you a quick demo of our system, how this works in practice. So this is the view of the backend system that the issuer has, and I can now connect my mobile phone. Yeah. So this is my digital wallet, and if I look here with the customers, I am a customer. Let's say this is my this is my customer. I'm identified. There is information known about me, and I do have one account, so that is active. This is my account, and you can see here that I do have 69 or 70 euros on my bank account. Let's say that I transferred 50 euros from my bank account to the bank account of the issuer, and that 50 tokens will be sent to my digital wallet. So this is the actual funding. So currently tokens are being minted and sent to my digital wallet. And you see the money is already there, and I can immediately start spending this money. So let's make someone happy. Let's take this person who has also an account. This is his account. He has 48 euros on his account, and I could now, for example, do a transaction. If I pay with my wallet, I'm now going to scan the QR code. I'm not very good in this, but let's hope this works. Yes. So this is the demo for the EMI, and let's spend 15.50 euro. So the transaction is already in progress, and this might take a few seconds. Yeah, but the payment succeeded, and if I do a refresh here, you will see that the 15 euros were sent to this person's account. So the backend system comes with a lot of different roles. For example, there is a role for an external auditor. That means that external parties can get access to the system and check if all the transactions are compliant with the existing regulation. Okay, so as I said, the system is in production for more than 5 years already. We support different types of blockchain. So we do a lot of public blockchain projects where we prefer to work with Stellar because this is, let's say, the best fit for purpose ledger for financial transactions. And we work on private blockchain projects that are, in most of the cases, private Stellar blockchains on financial projects as well, for example, on asset tokenization. We work for nearly 3 years with Tech Mahindra. We have a close partnership. We work together on IoT implementations of blockchain transactions and the financial industry. The Qantas organization is still privately funded. It was founded in 2015 by Gaston and me. And our clients currently process about 20,000 transactions on a daily basis with our technology. I hope I'm within the time. So that's it from my side. We connect blockchain transactions with traditional financial systems. And if you have any questions and some time is left, I'm happy to answer your questions. Okay. Any questions? No? Then I would say thank you very much for your attention. My contact details are here, henry@qantas.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. And I wish you a pleasant conference. And I'm looking forward to get in touch with you on LinkedIn or via email. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. Are there any questions? No. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone. So next we have Mr. Akash Gaurav, the co-founder of Authtlink. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello everyone, and glad all of you can join. I start with an introduction. I'm Akash. I'm co-founder and CTO at Authtlink. I started Authtlink after selling my last business, Oxys Group, which I started during my undergraduation at IIT Bombay. And now I'm working on a new concept particularly for the blockchain identity for all these different consumer products that we sell and see that is getting manufacturing. I'll just share my screen for. So I hope you all can see my screen now.
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, great. Sure. So I'll start. So what Authtlink is doing, Authtlink is aiming to digitalize and connect billions of consumer products to the web that are sold each year. So what we are doing is that we see that there are billions of consumer products, consumer physical products that are being sold. And since in an all digital era, because these physical products are not being able to be connect or interface to the web, they are missing a lot of important characteristics which is going on in the daily lives of people, including a day-to-day rich ecosystem of internet services that we utilize to be able to be match up with a product, giving more insights and analytics about a product. So think about that. Once a product can be digitalized, once a consumer product such as an electronic gadget or a jewelry product can be digitalized, the two-way interaction of information can start happening, which can include all these internet ecosystem based apps to be connected with your mobile app and provide a digital ecosystem and digital era for your particular product. So basically what our platform provides is that you can take any product, you can take any standard industrial standard connectivity for identification such as QR code, NFC, and Bluetooth, and create a product active smart identity with our platform. Now, this product active smart identity which we create is built with the standards of the existing standards of GS1, which are a product coding standard for which you see in all these products today. So currently you see a barcode is available there in all the products which are provided by GS1. So our active smart identity can include this product coding standards and web standards. So we can ensure that the rich internet services for either this is for the enterprise apps ecosystem or the consumer app ecosystem, which we generally see, or an Authtlink app ecosystem services which our company has built for in order to build this product for. So all these internet services can be utilized and bring on to. How we are able to do this is by designing a protocol which digitalize the products and provide them a smart identity so that it can be connected to web. Once connected to web, we are able to utilize the rich services of graphics, visualization, tracing, insights, and analytics, and whatnot that is currently already available in one form of services or another. Including this can provide a better services. So how does this happen is that through platform, you can create a cryptographic asset which is linked with the product, and you can link it with the physical item through any of these connectivity chosen, such as Bluetooth, RFID, or QR code. Once these are connected, the digital life has been provided. Our APIs tracks the traceability, its ownership, access, how the product is moving across, and create a digital journey of that particular product. Across this value chain, anyone who wants to verify the particular product, check history or check certification, can easily do that through interaction of our services. Now, because it's a digital product and we can capture all the interaction of services as well, what we are also ensuring that we can capture a lot of these data that is currently being missed by various organizations, and can be provided for the businesses to help them know more about their products and services. Now, once a customer purchases the product, the digital avatar or the digital augmentation of that particular product is received in the mobile app of the customer, providing them the digital access and ownership. So again, this mobile apps for customer is equipped with various ecosystem services such as visualizations, graphs, and ownership, social media, so that people can get the best out of the product which they have purchased. So our solution, the solution which we have built, is specifically aimed towards brands and manufacturers of different consumer products. Specifically, if we see the electronic gadgets, jewelry, and wine and spirits are some of the major industries which are providing this digital identity and digitalizing their products. Now, what does they get when we digitally augment a product with Auth-Link? Why brands are doing that? So number one is to provide an anti-counterfeiting and a brand awareness solution. So today, the smart tags and the products has a smart tag through which you can do a brand awareness, which is the same tag is being used for finding that whether that product is original or counterfeited, in helping customers to easily authenticate the product and helping brands to quickly remove the issues of gray marketing, moonlighting, or any of these anti-counterfeiting based problems. Customers also get more brand and product data by scanning and interacting with products, which also empowers them and provides them more information on the brands. Second thing which our product ensures is to provide transparency behind the product. So being a network-based system, in our system, the manufacturers can provide the provenance data, or they can onboard their network ecosystem providers onto our platform so that they can create a digital trace of this entire journey of a product onto our platform and update all the product transactions as it's happening, record provenance data, and provide transparency to customer. We have seen that in West Europe and Northern America, now we see that people are paying more, over 50% more, in case it is being provided that the goods they are consuming are purely environment and human rights sustainable. So there is a lot of focus going on, and brands are required to provide transparency and sustainability in order to compete with this new generation of manufacturers and direct to consumer brands that are coming in. Third, our brands are able to provide enhanced functionality onto their products and make them digitally accessible. So a digital product management can be done so that you receive a curated notifications, curated services such as the insurances or financing onto the products, making or getting more information of that particular product online, equipping this with various internet services such as social media and your financing application in order to auto track your products and movement of your finances. The same platform also enables, since we are focusing upon providing a last mile solution for customers to connect with their product, we help them to build a better relationship between the customer and the product, which makes them more loyal towards the brand because of the engagement that has been seen of customers with the product. And these customer engagements can lead to up to 10x more loyalty in customers, making them towards using your services. Then, as said, that once the product has been digitalized, a number of information or a number of interactions that is happening in the current physical world is getting missed out, and there is a lot of information that can be captured but is not currently being made available. So by using this service, the brands are able to get a greater in-depth height of the product and customer-based insights, providing them a better overview onto their business. So these are the few things which brands are why prefer to using Auth-Link and digitalize their particular products. Now, as a technology, Auth-Link generates smart identities for each product in the form of unique blockchain assets. So these blockchain assets are configured as the part of the product design smart contracts. So what we have done is that we provide a SaaS platform, a UI, a full UI equipped codeless SaaS platform through which you can deploy product templates, or for those who understand, for product templates in the form of blockchain smart contracts. These blockchain smart contract controls the logic of how that particular product, a set of product is going to flow, and the various attributes of that particular product is fitted inside of it. Now, why we are using blockchain asset to storing all this information is to ensure a few things. Number one, we wanted to provide this solution as a trust-free SaaS platform. So we have seen that a number of companies in the past has been providing similar solutions, including the biggest one, including Everlaser and everything. However, the small SMEs and small manufacturers are still not able to provide digitalization into their product. The reason being, implementing blockchain-based system for providing digitalization becomes expensive and much time-taking. And so for that matter, we decided to build this platform as a SaaS platform, so that small manufacturers and brands with less hassle can quickly can self-sign up and start using this platform. Now, with blockchain, we are ensuring that while we are providing this as a SaaS platform, through distributed key management system, we are ensuring that while we are the owner of the SaaS platform, but at no point we can control or issue any product identity, giving a full security and system to the brand of how they want to manage their product and control their particular product, while having no control on any third party or any intermediary, including us. Second, we also provide that since all the product related data are stored in the blockchain asset itself, and the blockchain assets are transferable. So when a customer buys a particular product, the digital avatar of that particular product, that is the blockchain asset of that particular product, also gets transferred automatically to the customer, through which they can even through the keys of the customers, then only the data of that particular blockchain asset or product can be controlled, providing the customers who own the particular asset full control on how the data is going to be seen and visualized, or who can access that particular information. By utilizing this as a blockchain smart contract-based system, we are able to provide intelligent and customizable assets into this. So from depending upon your choice of protocol or your choice of a standard, you can choose which kinds of assets you want to digitalize, you want to deploy from our UI platform. So the platform provides the active smart identity, that is the digital twin for every product. We provide ML and analytics based insights for the brands so that they can get more to know about their product. All the informations are anchored across the blockchain, ensuring that there is a trust-free data and there is a pure immutability of information. We provide dynamic scans, which ensures that when a consumer is scanning a product, reason-wise or a logical redirection happening, which engages customers effectively. So these can be these dynamic scans can be on the basis of reason, on the basis of the language of the customer, or on many more bases we can be customized. The another and the most important advantage which we see as digitalizing a product is that once you have digitalized with Auth-Link, your product ecosystem becomes accessible to connect with a wider internet ecosystem. You can include your CRM or ERP softwares directly into the Auth-Link to drive out the engagement and efforts which we are doing. So what as a SaaS platform we provide is that the brands or manufacturers gets a brand panel, a UI-based codeless platform through which they can create customized smart assets, they can track product lifecycle, improve customer relationship engagement, and also through the platform they can use the APIs and tokens of the system to link it with their ERP system and automate the end-to-end workflow for Auth-Link. So all of this can be done through a codeless UI panel of brand panel. We also offer a mobile vault. So for all the as a full suite of solution. So any brand which is using our platform gets a full access to provide their customers an always free mobile app. In this always free mobile app is connected with various internet ecosystems, providing digital interaction for the product and providing digital interactions to be made between the customer and the particular product. Once the product has been purchased, the product starts getting reflected in the customer's mobile vault, where they can see all the documentation, notifications, if there is any important insurance or financing requirements. All of those can be accessed immediately into currently our mobile app. And it is open for more innovation and more functionalities to be included and built in. We also offer an open verification terminal, that is that anyone across the value chain can scan a particular product and can scan a particular product and check the authenticity, traceability, or the provenance of that particular product. However, once the product has been purchased and the privacy has been enabled, depending upon how the owner has provided the privacy and access to you, the verification terminal will be able to provide that information into your mobile device. So why brands are choosing to work with Auth0link is that they can provide a digital identity to root out counterfeiting. They can provide a provenance and sustainability insights and higher in digital convenience. All of this leads to increased customer trust and increased brand loyalty, providing a better perpetual relationship with customers. Overall, it focuses upon the pointers of stopping the loss and increasing the sales for these brands by enhancing the brand trust and brand loyalty with the customers. So the best thing about Auth0link as a platform is that it's very easy to get started with. While it is an enterprise platform, you can always log into www.auth0link.com and instantly create an account. And in 4 easy steps, you can start releasing your product identity and start shipping your products with a digital identity. Focused upon with a SaaS platform, so it ensures that there are lesser commitments and the pricings are easy. And with a simple pricing plans, custom brands can start immediately issuing their certificates onto the platform. There are already over 20 brands that has been issuing certificates onto our platform, and some of the major partnerships we have done with the GS1 and Corda into building and driving the solution better and forward. So thank you. That's all. For those few who have the brands or manufacturers, I would love to for you to schedule a demo or sign up on the platform and see how we can utilize our platform for guiding your business into a better way. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time. The presentation was really very.
Sure. If there is any question to anyone, I can take more questions.
We are taking questions for this one, so if there's nothing from your end, we can just conclude.
All right, sure. So I think that's all. If there is anything, feel free to reach out to me. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi everyone. So next up we have Mr. Srinivas from Sustain Impact. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Okay. So should I share my screen?
Yes, sir. I've given you the rights. You can share the screen.
Let me know once you're able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. We can see it.
Okay. 1 second, I'm trying to go. Okay, so I think we can live with this. A very good afternoon to all the participants here at the Startup Showcase organized by IMAI. We are a Sustain Impact. and it's a proud moment for us because we have just very recently been awarded the Smart Startup of the Year at Innovation Awards by India Smart Grid Forum. So a little bit background about Sustain Impact. So why Sustain Impact was exactly started? So we can see that the entire energy systems are undergoing a change at the moment as we speak. The global scenarios of clean energy, climate change, electrification, which are further compounding the existing challenges of utility companies. Utility companies are staring at a large demand supply mismatch because of changing lifestyle of consumers, and this is resulting in poor quality of supply. If you look at it, the number of unscheduled power outages have gone up. There's revenue loss to utilities from pilferage and other events, theft events. And also the suboptimal utilization of the resources, that is, the transformer substations are not being entirely used to their capacity, though it's a heavy investment for the utility companies. Right? In addition to that, we have high transmission and distribution losses and consumers not able to unlock potential of the locally available renewable resources. And this is where Sustain Impact comes in. We are developing consumer-centric technology solutions which help the current energy system stakeholders in overcoming the challenges that they come across in moving out from an existing traditional grid to a clean and transactive energy ecosystem. So we help utilities in integrating their distributed energy resources, in performing data analytics, in improving the grid performance and better asset utilization, which results in deferring capital investments. We help consumers in accessing reliable and more affordable energy through demand-side energy management platforms. We help them become more participative in the energy decisions that they take, and this further enhances the energy security and management of energy. So net, we're trying to help everyone in the transition from a current energy ecosystem to a new transactive energy ecosystem. So Sustain Impact itself started in 2017 as a technology startup working on blockchain, IoT, and AI-based solutions for transactive energy. We currently have about 13 team members and various mentors and veterans from industry supporting us in our day-to-day journey. We have developed a lot of modular solutions, and we are at early revenue stage with 4 active clients and a strong project pipeline. We have team footprint in the US and EU with 2 of our co-founders actually coming in from US and EU. That way, what we can boast of is awareness of not just the Indian market, but also more mature US and European Western markets. We have a few solutions right now for demand-side energy management. Our GridSync platform is a demand response platform that has been tested through one of the biggest utilities in Delhi, BRPL. Our Power of Peer-to-Peer energy trading platform is currently being tested by CESC, which is Kolkata Electricity Corporation, and also by BYPL, another utility in Delhi. And we are further developing few specific use cases for Tata Power and PTC on how blockchain can be used for energy management. And we are in advanced stages of discussions with other utilities as well. Further, we intend to delve into vehicle-to-grid, into data sciences and data-driven asset management, developing DERMS platforms. So these platforms that we already have today are going to lay the foundation stone for further more involved and more technically challenging problems on DERMS platforms. We also have a couple of patents that we have filed in terms of developing how we can take a advanced system and make it compatible with existing legacy systems, which many times do not even come with adequate smart metering infrastructure. Right? Our solutions are able to be used for controlling energy assets such as changing the temperature set points of air conditioners or geysers remotely through an IR switch, performing activities like grid edge load and generation forecasting, so on and so forth. We also have given our inputs and feedback to ISO working group on blockchain and distributed ledger technologies, and they have been incorporated by ISO. So what we can say is we are a startup that is actively pushing both the boundaries of technology and also say regulatory advocacy. So why blockchain? And this is a well known area, but at the same time, it is also highly challenged area that do we need blockchain for what we're doing. I think some of the areas where blockchain is proves worthy of its merit is where we have complex systems and multiple actors, where we have complex business rules which can be handled through smart contracts, and where process optimization needs to be integrated with automation. So such use cases are very efficiently and effectively dealt with blockchain. The other advantages are things that we already know of. That is, it eliminates counterparty risks, it reduces operation costs, it ensures enhances data security and at the same time data privacy, gives us data transparency, and allows for positive identification of energy sources. Okay. The founding team, Rahul, myself, Samir, and Avanish, we come with a lot of experience in energy sector, and at the same time have a technology background as well. Specifically, Rahul and Samir have a good technology background. Okay. And we have industry mentors, Amul Charanji, he is a ex-Tata Power MD, Rajesh Tutu, who is currently the global head of blockchain practice at Tech Mahindra, and Vinay Solanki, who is a very active TEDx speaker and a NASCOM member for Delhi Gurgaon region. And Avdesh Sharma, who is a seasoned energy sector expert. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So a couple of clients and collaborators here are BSES, Tata Power, CSC, and Ahmedabad, IIT Gandhinagar are our institutional collaborators, and we also actively work with Ample Solar and Denmark Technological University. We are working on vehicle-to-grid solutions with Renault Motors. I think if there are any questions from the audience that are allowed, I would like to maybe take those questions before we can move into more detailed use cases. Okay. So some of these use cases, one use case is of GridSync, which is a demand response platform. Essentially what it does is it allows the utilities to incentivize consumers for their good energy behavior. Okay. So we have a web platform and a mobile platform. The web interface is used by utility companies to post and manage demand response events to manage consumers who are going to participate in demand response events, and a mobile platform that is used by consumers to participate in these demand response events scheduled by the utility companies. We have successfully demonstrated over 3,000 plus demand response events with BRPL, wherein we have performed peak shaving of AC loads during summer and load shifting of geyser loads in winter. And we have also used data analytics for better understanding consumer load and behavior. Okay, the novelty is that this is a 100% automated controlling platform, no human intervention required, and this is the first time that that has been done in India. Also, we can do feeder-wise, region-wise custom schedules, individualized incentives for, say, domestic and domestic and industrial consumers. Also, we can accept multiple bids from domestic consumers needing a separate incentive. Okay, and the highlight is that we don't need smart meters for validation of the trade, which is accomplished through smart agent and smart switches. The second tool is a power up, which is peer-to-peer energy trading tool, wherein the two consumers, let us say a school and a factory, could be trading energy. There will be surplus solar energy during the summer months when schools are closed, or if when there's a pandemic and schools are closed for regular operations, right? The school has solar energy, but it is not able to use all the energy that it has. So it could actually sell that solar energy to a neighboring small-scale industry at a reasonable price than what the small-scale industry is offering to the grid. That way, both of them stand to benefit. Okay. So we have demonstrated this peer-to-peer energy trading application, which is an entirely mobile application using a POC at IIT Gandhinagar, and we have recently started live implementations with BYPL and CGSC. Yeah, so the advantages are it allows to manage the grid congestion better. It also gives a higher return on investment for the grid assets or the distributed energy generation assets for the consumers, and avoids high cost on spot purchases for the utility company. It's a very, as I say, well integrated platform where the consumers can be onboarded by one click, and it has appliance level forecasting, demand and generation forecasting, and customized penalty terms, and is integrated with blockchain through the smart agent. Here, the smart agent is a small device that is placed next to the energy meter, which is used as a gateway for blockchain and for controlling the energy assets at the home. Yeah, I think the other third primary use case that we're seeing is for the smart agent itself, which is integrated with energy meters and can convert a regular energy meter into a smart meter and provide grid edge analytics and control. Yeah, so these are, this is in a nutshell what I wanted to share about Sustain Impact and how we are trying to disrupt the energy sector through our incremental innovations. At this point, I can take any questions from the audience. Okay.
So we are not taking any from the audience for this one, sir.
Okay. So I'll stop sharing. I think I had 15 minutes and
Yeah.
I shared what I had to.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you everyone for joining us for the first round of Startup Showcase. We come back at 4:15 for yet another round of Startup Showcase. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.